Good morning. Well, good afternoon now. Hi. We're gonna be playing some DBD as usual. Uh, yeah, playing some DBD unless some people come in chat and want to play something else. Um, but this is what we will be doing. For today, maybe we'll get some games in with people. Um, Nothing really crazy plans for today. I wanted to start E33, but I just want to do it when people are here so they can watch me play. um, Big GG on that. But we'll get started here in a second. I'm just finishing some coffee. Should I make another? Maybe I'll make another before stream starts. Everyone check in when you can. Um, I want to take something off. I need to update my stream elements. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Let's get started. I might make another coffee. Before we start. I'll be right back. back. I'm here. All right, we're gonna get started with DBD. DBD. And play some Survivor matches. We're gonna do Camp Shuffle. I guess I'm just gonna use it to learn new perks because I typically play with like the same perks. Very comfortable with that. Yeah. I don't like using new perks. It's scary. Hi. Away from and I'm just gonna carry a flashlight because I can. Okay, I have an Arella perk, and I don't know the other three well enough to know what they are. But I know that that's Arella's like ambulance perk. I think it's like when I do a fast exit out of a locker or something. People around me get haste or something. I don't know. Hey. No. Oh my god, he has ruin. Oh, I'm so bad. Wait, what's this? Still sight. After not moving, perk activates. Okay, cool. Shoulder the burden. Okay, I know what that is. I should have done the fast locker exit then, right? I'm gonna go back to the gen. Kate gets grabbed off a window. What am I supposed to do? I'm so sorry. I'm gonna hide in the corner. Does he come after me? He comes after me. No. Shoulder the burden. What? Okay. Well, that sucks. Clean break. When you finish healing a survivor while being healed by another. Oh, after. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Okay, nice. So I can do shoulder the burden and heal. And be okay for a little bit. Oh, they don't want to save me. Okay, here comes Jake. Jake, please. Thank you. Yeah, Kate, get on a gen. And I'm gonna go to a different gen than she's on. I think she's over there. I'm gonna go this way. Yep. When everyone's on Death Hook, I'm gonna try to keep my hooks safe. I'm gonna try to not get hooked. Can I go up this way? I can! Okay, these like little rocks always confuse the fuck out of me. Oh, they're downstairs. They're downstairs. Oh, Kate is on a completely different gen. WK. Oh my god, W. Look at the team go. We're about to do this 4th gen. Alright, Kate, that's fine. Take that chase. You're fine. You're fine, girl. Try to get Jake and Ash. Okay, Jake and Ash. Jake needs to heal Ash. Oh, Ash is on me. Here, I'll heal you. Here, come here, come here. Let me heal you. Get my, pink break. Nice, Jake. Good to be here. Thank you, guys. Let's do it. Let's just push this, and then I'm gonna go get her. Oh, Ash will go get her. Yes, Ash, you go get her. Go, go, go. No! They got Kate off. That's exactly what I wanted, and they healed her. Hi guys. Hey. Over here. There's a gen over here. He doesn't want me. I'm gonna go hit this gen, I guess, right? Ash, take this chase. Please be okay. You're gonna be fine. I just didn't want him to hit me. Jake, come on, take a chase, please. That's fine. Guys, I need someone to help me. No! One of you, please. He might camp me now. He's gonna put a little body right there, right? Like a little TP. Oh, because that's a door. Oh, he thought they were on that door. Jake is opening the other door. Ash, no! This is not good, guys. Just open the door fully and come get me. They 99'd it. I'm so stressed out. We got this. Yes. But Kate, come on! Kate, you can leave. Actually, Kate, just leave. Because you're on Death Hook. Look, she doesn't want to help. Yeah, she can just go. Jake, Jake, oh my god, Ash is in the basement. How does Jake clutch this? Jake has to come get me. We might have to. Go. He wants my ass! I'm sorry, Jake. Where's Jake? He thinks I went down there. I can't help. I need to get healed. Ash literally has another hook state. Jake, if you can come here. Jake, come. No. Fuck, Jake, no. No. I'm gonna go get Ash. No! Ash, get out! No! Get Jake and go! Go! Get Jake and go! One of you should have took my chase. I guess he was tunneling me. He just wanted me dead. Come on, you guys got this. Get Jake off the hook and run. Unless he leaves. Does he leave Jake? Let's see. Does Ash leave Jake? No! Run! Jake, you have to take a hit! Jake, you have to take the hit! No! Ash is gonna die. Jake, just go. Just full send to door. Oh, he doesn't even know. He thinks you already are at the door. No, guys. Jaco! Jake is so close! Ash is getting chased. Jake, run! Please! Please make it worth it. One of you needs to get out. Go! Go, Jake, go! Ash is not gonna make it. Ash will get killed though, but oh no. GG's. GG's, guys. Good try. We tried. I tried to save you guys. I'm sorry. GG's. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Please. That one was gross and ugly. Take a good picture for Instagram. And I just put my drink down. Mm-mm. Fuck that hoe, fuck that bitch. It's fuck that hoe to the condom slip. Run this shit. Designer. Sorry guys, I'm not paying attention. V, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Alright, let's get on this generator. Trevor's not on this one. That V is AFK. Hey V! Hey! You're awake! Welcome to the party! Hi! Oh, I have a pebble! To Oni. He has pallet control. I'm dead. Oh! The whiff is crazy. Okay. Wow, he's on Trevor somehow? He left Trevor. Oh, he's the main. Oh no, he's chasing the Phoenix now. No! Go the other way, go the other way. No. Fucking A, bro. Trevor, here. Come here. Come. Thank you, Trevor. V, go back on the gen. Ooh, I didn't even know he was there. Oh, he must have some sort of like silent, like a stealth perk. Holy shit, I had no idea he was even there. No, Trevor. 2 gens though. Okay, cool. It's fine. V, did you get it? No, V didn't get it. Just full heal. Fucking V is on the ground too. Jesus. Okay, maybe I should hold a med kit. Look at him. Oh! No! How does he have rage so quick? He's just gonna slug, I guess, on 3 gens. Oh! The Trevor took the hit! The Trevor took the hit! Oh my god, what is this Oni doing? I guess. Help! Oh, interesting. Blood rush. Diversion is what's called. Empathy. Why did I think it was called apothecary? Am I crazy? He's looking for me. V. There's a hex here. He's on the Felix. Need a full reset. Here he comes. Guys, can you out chase him? I'm going for the heal. Hi King, what's up? Welcome in. How are you? Yes, get your first in and check in, check in. I got you, Felix. Yes, heal me, heal me. Okay, this Oni really tried it. Oh shit! I don't like this. Just knocked. Nice! No shit. Blind him! Yes! Yes, Felix! We need to get it on a gen or something. King, how are you doing, Evil King? Evil King, King. How should I call you? Motherfucker, he is on my ass. I'm gonna play around this. Bitch! 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 I'll just play pallets. He wants the 4K so bad. Bitch! Try again, bitch! That's what you get for being a weirdo. It's okay, I'll play around it. Good try, Justin! Oh my god! Why aren't they all healed though? Like, that's my problem. Why aren't they all healed? Why aren't they all healed, please? I was running for my life. Hi, Evil King. How was your week? Happy Saturday. We're at the weekend. Oh my god. Wait. I can't even take a sip of my coffee. Oh my god, the blind! Let's go! This guy is sick of us. Go! Run, guys, run! I can only do so much. Go! Yes, go. Yes, go. Okay, well, I think I'm pretty much shit out of luck. SOL. Bitch! Oh. I have to take this chase to you guys. Like, y'all should be healing. Come over here, please! Please, friends! We just need to get on gens. I think they never reset. Why didn't you guys ever, like, why is it Felix healed? I don't know how diversion works. Like, I don't really understand it. I just threw it on. He is fully coming this way. I knew it. Oh my god! I'm just gonna work on this gen. Let's see. I want him to get off of her. Wait, Felix, come here! Come here, please, please, please. We have to heal. Come on. Hey, 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 we need to heal. He wants my ass. He wants my ass so bad. You want my ass so bad. Oh my god. Please. Oh my god, never is he so like, why did he kill me? We need to heal. I'm just gonna sit here and let her heal me. You guys need to just full heal, full heal, full heal, full heal, full heal. Full heal, full heal. He has some in his hand. And get the V. This game is crazy! I'm so scared! No! Mistakes were made. I pulled that! No! Hi, Evil King. I'm doing good. I'm just bullying an Oni at the moment. I showed him my tits a few times. I don't think he liked that very much. I didn't ask for him. He's upset. He made sure to kill me or to hook me. How are you, Evil King? Tell me about your week. What are you doing this weekend? Do you have any plans? He might just come back over here. He doesn't come back over here, but he's getting his rage up. I'm just gonna go for a bludgeon. I don't want to keep healing. I'm broken, friend. Coming right over here. Is he gonna come right here? Phew! Felix, finish that. Just don't get on them. Just don't get on them. I want them to stay on the jump. No. Oh, it's over here. I'm so shook. V, this is your time, friend. Sorry. Big fat G. Trevor! Oh, he's going to the door. Smart man. Smart man. Oh, the gen was over there. Whoa. Oh, it was inside. I like had no concept of that. I'm gonna get out, and this is gonna be the greatest thing I've ever done. Come on, V, go! Go, V, go! Oh, fuck. Does he just aim for doors? V is running him down. No, V! I just have a little tiny juice left. No, just open the door. Open the door. Open the door. he left. Does he pick her up? She's not far from the door. Bitch. There he is. I want her to crawl out. Can you crawl out, girl? You can't crawl out? I'm just gonna leave. I'm sorry, friend. A case of the just leave. Sorry, girl. I'm not gonna help you. We're all in Death Hook. Felix should have been the one to stay, but why is Felix left? So, GG's. Good try to the V. That Oni was crazy. I'm just happy I got out, to be honest. Cause I know I can be. Evil King, do you want to get some games in? What are you doing? Oh, I have a sticker on my shirt. LOL. Not outing me as an extra large. Do 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 do. What? Oh, this is what I was gonna do. Oh, friends! Oh, it's a Chucky. Look at all the friends. We're all together. We're all safe. The pitter patter. Why was he right there? Why was he right there? I'm sick. Oh, I'm gonna fucking. No!
Damn it!
No!
About fucking time.
Damn, Chucky's so tiny. Oh, I have Last Stand! Or no, that's not Last Stand. What is it called? Throwdown. Detective Hunt. Okay. Alert and road light. Oh, sorry. Damn, I was really trying to take that. Oh, he's tunneling me. What a crazy freak of nature. Why are you tunneling me? What are you doing, friend? I just got here. I just got here, Chucky, please. I just got here. I don't deserve this. Hi, Noah. What's up? Welcome in, Bake. Get your check-in. Make sure you check in with your channel points. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we have 2 gens done. Where's Steve? Okay, Steve's up there. Oops, they're both Steve. I need you to come over here, sir. Yes, Bakeball, you better check in. How are you? How you doing? How was your week? I hope you had a better week this week than last week. Fucking Chucky on me, like, that's crazy. His fucking laugh is crazy. Come on, please. Why would you? I have to leave. I can't even help you. They got the unhook. I'm gonna do this gen up here. Golly gee. Started school up this week? Okay, so are you in you're still in year 1, right? Oh, they did this gen. Never mind. Alright, I'm gonna get her now. I think I'm just gonna sack. Because he's being a freak. Nice. Go toward the hook, go toward the hook, go toward the hook. Get her off the hook. No, that didn't work. I think I'm dead here. I'm not dead. He left me alone. No, he didn't. I'm gonna go upstairs. Or, no, he went to pick her up. He did leave me alone. I'm gonna go right to that hook. At least I wasn't the first one to die. Year 1, semester 2, spring courses. There you go. GG, please, Mr. Chucky. Please. It's okay. You gonna email your professor tomorrow? Yeah? What are you gonna email them about? I died. It's okay. Our first game was so good against that Oni. I have class. Oh, if you have class or not. I don't have work on Monday, so maybe you don't have class. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm okay today. I don't have work. Oh, there's no more. There's no more survivor modifier? No. Okay, you guys were playing regular matches. Let's put some points into Aurella. No. Yeah, well, maybe that's fair, but maybe, I mean, it's smart to email her, but it's probably that they just have them pre-scheduled for every Monday, you know what I mean? And they just didn't cancel the one on the holiday. That happens at work too sometimes. Some of my meetings haven't been canceled, but I know that I don't have work. So. Yeah. I think I want to play with Gabe still. We'll go around healing. And this is the class you were taking? Ah, okay. Yeah, you definitely don't want to mess that up. She's a better teacher than the last one? I hope so too. I hope that you have a better experience with this professor. Okay, no shack. Anything. It's a Bubba? Oh no, it's a Billy. I just ran across the map. That's not where we are, sir. GG. Alright, I'm gonna go over here to this thing. Hey. Hey. I'ma get you, don't run. That's funny. Yeah, you go get her. No way. Well, let me just try to get this gen done. Oh my god. Why couldn't I hit the pallet? Why couldn't I hit that pallet? I guess it wasn't worth. Onion, please. Jane, please. Thank you, friend. That'd be fun. That wasn't Yun. I thought it was Yun. Oh, she's looking. Fucking A. Why is he tunneling? Yeah, whiff, ho. You need to take that. He's tunneling me. No! Where did the phone go? Why is he tunneling me? Look, he's already tunneling. Hit me! Hit me! Nice. Like, I'm already on Death Hook. I have to pee! He's coming right the fuck back over here. Shit. Need that life. Get me far. This is not correct. You shouldn't be over here, girl. Yeah, go. Leave me alone. No, do not bring him this way. I'm gonna get this gen done. It's gonna be incredible. I got you, friend. I need Funk to pop that gen. Thank you. Nice. Someone needs to start a gen. Oh, there's a gen over here started. Bringing him over here is insane work. Nice. Take the chase, take the chase, take the chase. Take the chase, friend. You have no hooks. You have to take the chase. Nice. Nice. Guys, run. Where are you guys? Open the door, Fung. Go for the door. It's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna open this door. We're gonna get her out. We're gonna get her out. Nice. Come. No! It's okay, we can't save her. We can't save her. No! Come on. He wants me dead. Guys! No way! Yeah, she's just gonna get death hooks. We went too deep. Jeez, tried to get everyone out too. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick and I'll be right back. And we're back. Hey. It's the same killer, it's another Billy. No! Bitch. left me alone. Woo! You! Yeah, let's fuck it. Maybe I can get my life back. Oh! Run, Sable, run! Take him away from here, please. Nancy, what are you doing, friend? Get out of there. She got out of the... Oh, there's Nancy. Oh, Evil King, welcome back. I missed you so much. You were definitely missed. How are you? What do you have planned today? What do you got going on? Also, I'd love to know more about you if you whatever you feel like sharing. I'm so happy you're here. Look at him. Look at him over there. Go, Nancy, go. Just chilling pretty much. I was, I did ask you earlier if you wanted to buy you up on my TV. I did ask if you wanted to, play with me a little bit. But it's cool that you're chilling. I think that's the plan for me too, after a stream. I'm just gonna be chilling all day. Guys, somebody needs to heal somebody. Or do a gen, like somebody do something. You're on Switch, but it looks good on my TV. I'm not on Switch, I'm on PlayStation. Oh, bish. Alright, I'm gonna get her off the hook, I guess. Oh, here. Fucking Sable, girl. Here, heal me. I didn't know you had a PlayStation. I do. I'm playing on PlayStation. Thank you. Get Nancy off hook first. Yeah, get her off hook. Come this way. No, come this way, Sable. Oh my god. We need to work on on another gen. Sable, come here, come here, come here. Look at us right in the middle of this thing. Oh, fuck. Where's Jill? Oh. That was them. I literally have no idea what this last gen is. Or like where a gen could be. Like I don't know this map at all. How long are you playing for? Like another 2 hours. I try to hit like 3 hours on stream. Give people time to like come hang out. I'll end sooner if like people aren't around because I really do this to chat with people and oh shit, he might be on me. No. I'm gonna have to take this chase. Nice whiff. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. That's fine. That's fine. I can take it. No! He left me alone. Nice, go, go, go! Go, 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 go! Go, 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 go! Go, 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 go! Get out of there! I took it for you, now go heal! Are you main? I'm a Gabe main. I love playing as Gabe. I also like Aurella a lot. Aurella is the second person I'm trying to P100. Guys, it's my first hook. You don't have to, I mean, Nancy can come get me. Nancy, come get me, please! Oh no, he's already back on me. Interesting. What about you? Who do you like to play with? Nia's your main? You know, honestly, I feel like people who play Nia are like top tier teammates, you know? Come get me. He knows you're coming this way. Fuck! Other side, other side. Go, go, go. Take the swing! Yes! Swing at me, bitch! We need to get on a gen. I have no idea where the gens are. Oh! Teammates! Hi! I was like, I hear somebody crying in the dark. Thank you guys! Let's go. Take us to a gen, Nancy. I don't know where the gens are, friend. Like, where are the gens? Okay. Shit, good try. Oh, over here. I hear it. Oh, yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pa, 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 pa. Go, go, go. I can take a chase. Oh, this gen was being worked on too. Go, Sable, go. Go, go, go. They just need to rush that gen. He is coming, he's coming. Nice. No. Sable, no. Where'd you go? Go, Sable, go. I'll take it. No, don't tunnel her. Don't tunnel her! Go, go, Sable, go! I don't know how she got healed. I don't know where the doors are. I hate this map so much. Okay, it's over there. Hey, yo! LOL. Are you BMing me because I went to the door? Aha. Go, 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 go. Who did? GG's. Oh, I think Nancy definitely got out. GG's to that killer. He wanted it. He wanted it bad. We got everyone out though. That's the important part, you know? And then I'm just feeding blood points into her.
Great.
Yeah, honestly, this is a fine loadout. I want to put his Christmas. Oh! Oops. Oh my god, the spring trap. Named White against the world. No. Is that a hook there? No, right?
Ah!
Oh. Why did I think he was here? No way! No! Damn, and they didn't even get the second hook. We don't have a gen done. Like, what's going on, friends? This is a dark ass map. I think, yeah, Ace needs to come here, and I can heal him. Look at him right there. He actually blends in with the shadows so well. just gonna use my toolbox on this, I guess. I just don't know where to look. Ever. No, Dwight, don't bring him here! Dwight, bro. Nice, Dwight. No. It's okay. Nice. Keep the ace on the other one. He might come right back to hook when I do this, but let's see. That's fine. You should have got off that gen. No! Never! No! It was so close to finish! I got greedy. Maybe I should have just stayed on it. Definitely sees you. Look at him. Go, go, go! Run, run, run! No! What is that guy doing down there? Why is he in the basement? Please come help me, friend. Please. Well, that happened. Jeez. I still need a like to open a hatch with a key. chest was nice. Not facing the wall. Another Oni on this map. I fucked that up. I'm sorry. It is an Oni. No, this is a different map. Just take me. What is the invocation? What are we doing? The Fung. Oh no, that's Nancy. I forgot. Fung is over there. Oh, I can take a chance on Hook. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, somebody come get her. Go, Nancy, go! Nancy can do this. I believe in her. Never mind. I spoke too soon. Oh! Oh, dear! Dear Jesus. That's fine. Why was I in chase like that? Yes, Evil King. Do you like my emotes? I love Cyndaquil. I'm gonna have to play around that palette, right? Go, Fun, go. One gen left. I'm gonna work on that one. On here. Hi, Nancy. Look at him over there. Dashing for his life. Oh, right onto Steve. Girl. Left Steve. Why did he leave Steve? Hi. Run, Steve, run! Where'd he go? Oh, hello. Y'all, this is not the door. Oh, he's collecting fucking blood orbs from Steve. Oh, I get to steal the toolbox. Let's just open it. This guy's gonna one-hit us, like one-tap us. This way she can open the other door. Yeah, let's her open the other door. Life saved my life. No! I'm just gonna crawl out. Look at that, look at that. No! Come on, Nancy. Quick. GG's, guys! We did it, friends! Woohoo! Way to go. That was fun. What a W squad. I honestly wasn't sure I was gonna make it there at the end. But I thought crawling out was the best option. Like, I don't think stopping to let him heal me was smart. Like, I think that was the best way to go about that. And then it's okay. Like, we all made it out. That's the most important part. Oh my god, yes, let's play Evil King. I trust you with my life. Alright, Arella, let's do that. Back to Gabe. I want to change his shirt to this one. Wait, where is it? Oh. There you go. Alright, we got this Evil King. I have faith in us. Pyramid Daddy, TC. Oh, I just got everyone's a streamer. Let's see if these people are even live. I love checking in on them. Pyramid Daddy. He is live. Okay, I'm gonna have to hop in after the game. And then OG Gamer. OJ Gamer. Why? I kinda hate that. Oh. Maybe I won't. And then OJ Gamer is not live, but well, damn. Stretch. Yeah. No, Evil King, run! Oops! Is it another Billy? Is it? I think it's another Billy. Am I wrong, Evil King? It is another Billy. Ah! Like, it's another, a whole other Billy! Well, I got the gen done. This is the third Billy today. People and their Billies. No, let's W. No, wait, please let me heal you. Come on. Like I promise. You see? The way he came right back. Okay. Damn! We are SOL. Go, Evil King, go! I should have a gem progression one. Oh my god, he's up. It's okay, OJ Gamer. You know, sometimes you just have to take a second hook for the team. to get off this gen. I need to finish it first. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna go for the hook when he goes to pick up dude. Like, he thinks I'm on that. He thinks I'm on the body. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Oh, Mike, why did it do that? I'm sorry, friends. I didn't mean to pull that down. Go, go, go. Unhook him, unhook him. Nice. Nice, Evil King. Nice, guys. I'm glad you went back to that gen. Evil King, where are you? I lost you, friend. Oh, you're broken. Oh, there you are. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to drop down that pallet. It fully said heal on my like screen as a prompt. Does he come back this way is the question. He doesn't come back this way. I'll be right there, Evil King. Let's go. This gen is halfway. Somehow he's on me! Like, what am I supposed to do? Oh man, how did he come? How did he get to me? Nice, Evil King. Thank you. Where is he? Bitch. Sometimes you need to take the hit, right? I didn't know I was moving, sorry. Thank you. Well, damn. Oh, this is not good. I supposed to do? Oh, he moried me. I guess that's his revenge. Billy's revenge from the last game. Oh, GG. He really wanted it. I went around and did my thing. I did what I had to do around here. King, you get out, I promise. You get out of this. I'm sure of it. I'll be right back. You got this. Run, King, run! Period! Oh, never! Never! Oh, you have conviction? Oh. You get the door off though with the conviction? Oh, right? You haven't really started the door, huh? Wait, Dwight is so far away. Yeah, he should be working on that door. Look at that. It's fine. He's working on that door. GG's. He's a Mori, right? Oh, he's looking for Dwight. Go to the other door. I think you get up with conviction. You can do the door. Yep. Go, 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 King, go. You're better. Sante, sante. GG's. You deserve that. You deserve that exit. GG. Oh, followers only chat? Sorry, dude. Wanna share the love, but I'm not ready to drop a follow. My bad. GG's. Your butt was clinched? You did so good! I was scared for you too, because conviction has definitely let me down, and I just wasn't sure how long you needed to make it out, but you ate. You ate! That was awesome. I cannot believe you got that last gen done too. Like, I think we just did a good. I like games like that. Like, I don't even mind if all 4 of us don't get out, as long as people make it out and we've like we've worked for the like exit. You know what I mean? I don't mind working for the exit. I like that. You did so good. Oh, wow. Oh, oops. I'm already hungry. I guess I really haven't eaten. I've been eating this muffin. Oh, my camera's not even on. I've been eating this muffin, and I'm hungry for like pizza. I want pizza. Yesterday I also had a bottle of wine. It was glorious. Excuse me. Lily pie is so fun to me. Do. All right, we're gonna eat this one up too. Like, I'll make it out this time. I'm convinced. It's Sable. Hi, Chaotic. Hey, Sable. I almost missed that check, bro. Oh, it's Myers. Oh my gosh. He got... I think he's all loaded up. I lost him. Oh, I saw him. I see him. I see him. I'm dead here. I'm dead. 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 Oh! Get the whiff. Oh. 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 Ah! No! I got stuck on the tree. We definitely got a whiff there. I should have ran back to the other, to the hook that I fucking got down. Damn! He's gonna come right for us, so I'm just gonna go for the hook. This is not good. He's just gonna kill me. Oh no, he left me. They are vacuuming right above me. Sable. I lost him. Oh no, did he just break that? He must have just break that. Break that? What the fuck is wrong with that? Oh my god, what am I doing? I think I got out. Oh no! He's still following me! Oh, did you just fall on him, King? Oh my god, my hero. I'm gonna keep rushing this gen. Whiff, bitch. No, I bumped right into him. GG's. He hit the gen. There was the boom. Sorry, I'll drink your water. I'm dead here, guys. I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead! Oh! Dude! I'm just better, I think. Oh, maybe not. It's okay, I stayed on this hook. I stayed on this hook. Oh my god, my hero, bro! You're just better. I mean, he's mad. He is not gonna let me go. I don't really know where to go. I can't be putting myself in danger. He is after me. Oh. Damn. Oh my gosh, I just saw that again. You did it again. Sable, why would you bring him over here, bro? Sable. Oh, I just have to drop every pallet. Oh, you thought I was still there? I hate you. I have life again. I need a window. He left me alone. Oh my god, just better. I need windows or pallets to vaults. at a door. I'm at a door. Come on, Sable. Sable's here with me at the door. He's trying to kill her. He's on her. Oh my god. Get that whiff, boy. Jeez. Sorry, Sable. I tried to buy some time. Oh, is he just trying to slug? You don't have another flashback, do you? Yeah, crawl to the door, Sable, please. Okay, good. I mean, I guess that's better than just slugging her. Sable, take a hit, bro! Sable! Sable! I cannot believe the Sable did that to you. Damn, GG's Evil King. That bitch, I know. What were you thinking? Why did that Sable do that? She could have taken that hit for sure. Damn, El Sable. Good try though. Good try. That was a good try. We almost got you out. You know what? We'll get you out the next one. No. No, seriously. Like, what are we doing? OMG. You did so good. You saved me so many times. You saved so many of us too. You saved, didn't you save the Sable? You definitely saved the Sable. Ugh, you saved her more than once. GG's, you're just a better partner, better teammate.
I've seen better days, that's for sure.
You did so good. The Sable should have totally taken the hit, and you guys would have been fine. I think this is gonna be my last game. Evil King. I'm hungry. I think I'm gonna make lunch and get some food. But I'll hit you up if you want to play some later or anything. I play a lot of other games. This is just the game I like to play alone. Cut your hair and shower. Ooh, haircut time. Yeah, DBD is just typically the game I play alone. Unless people ask me to play other games, but I play so many other games. So obviously we talked about Switch games and gotta look cute or whatever. I play a bunch of you should never play DBD alone. That's why you're here. Oh wow, we're all together. I really can't handle another Myers. Oh, it's a fucking Dracula, bitch. He didn't. Oh! I'm officially in chase. Woo! Holy whiff. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Get out the door! Whiff. He went up the stairs! He went up the stairs! What is happening? Why is everything exploding? What was that? What was that? What is happening? I have never seen this inferno before. What is happening right now? I have never seen this inferno before in my life. Jinky Scoob, please. Chimichanga, please. Thank you. What is happening? Why is this inferno happening? What is this add-on or this perk? I have never seen it before. is it? Oh, I found it. Why did she leave? Let's go. Oh, hell no! Nice! Oh my god, Evil King, we did it! Sable again being a hoe ass. A hoe ass bitch. Like, why'd the Sable just leave? I just needed to get you out. I'm so happy you followed me. I didn't know you had Dead Hard. Phew! And that's how you take a hit, Sable. I know. Hey, Micah, what's up? This was our last game, Micah. You're just in time for the end of stream. Thank you for the games, Evil King. I will hit you up for games for sure. You didn't have Dead Hard? Oh, you still had. Oh, you just had your invincibility. Like you still took your little hit. Oh my god, let's go. How are the games last night? I was lurking playing Valorant. Well, you didn't check in. Make sure you check in now. Games were good. It was just a late night and I just felt tired. I mean, I was also drinking. I definitely had a big ass glass of wine. Thank you for the games, Evil King. And I'll definitely hit you up about playing later or playing something later. We can play anything. You know, I stay forgetting. Yeah, you didn't even say hi. Sad. How was your time with Ness? It was a lot of fun. Nestle in town was really great. She's studying for exams, so like she's trying to get certified and stuff. So, wishing her tons of luck, and I'm gonna have to hit her up soon to just check in. How are you? How was work this week? How's your weekend? Let's put some bullet points into Arbella, and before we end stream.
I remember you.
Stuck on Ray, helping these folks out. Are you at work today? You typically work. You don't work Sundays then, right? Thursdays and Sundays, or am I crazy? It's busy today. Why is it busy? Get up at 7. Nice. I think I want to get this hair on Arbella. This is such a cute hair. Look at her. She is so cute. Also, this fit is crazy with the that purple wig is crazy. She looks insane with this outfit on. Like she looks fun. You know, like she looks. This is a great fit. Look at her. She is so cute. Oh, this is the hair for that outfit. No, I like this hair a lot, so I think I'm gonna buy it. Okay. You should get the wig, the purple wig. It's so good. It's so good. I want to put this cute hair on her though. Yeah, girl. Look at her. She looks so cute. I love Arella. But yeah, she's definitely the next P100 I want. I mean, 27 is crazy. I think V is up there too. I need to, I actually need to level up V.
Not done.
You didn't see the back? Oh, wait. Here, we'll go. I love the 3 little buns. Yes, that's exactly it. It's like 3 little buns. Oh, you didn't see the back in the store. No, she looks incredible with this hair. I wish I could zoom in. Look at her. With the sunglasses and everything, these earrings. She is such a cutie. Yeah, she looks great. And I love this winter fit on her. Like, I like these pants with that shirt. Like, she just looks incredible. Like, how can you hate on her? And she's a healer. You can't even hate Aurella if you tried. Should we raid today? We haven't raided in a while. I don't know who to raid, though. Who should we raid? I don't see... Literally only 4 people are live, and... I mean, maybe we can raid Supreme. Supreme's my only, like... kind of friend streaming at the moment. That I'm following me. Maybe we won't raid. Your only friend live. My only friend that's live. Everyone else I'm following right now is like hundreds of viewers. I think we're just gonna end stream here, or maybe we would just make a new friend. Should we make a new friend? No, I think we're just gonna end here. Micah, good luck with the rest of your shifts. Do whatever you want. Good luck with the rest of your shifts. Maybe we can hang out later and play some games. Unless it's Valorant, that I'm not gonna play. But I'll hit you up. I'll also hit you up, Evil King. I had so much fun with you today. You were an excellent teammate. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'm gonna make some lunch now.